We are 2 weeks away from the NBA playoffs. If you're a regular viewer of ESPN or you listen to sports radio, then you already know this because ESPN covers the NBA like they're still the second most popular sport in the country. It's always been kind of a given fact in the sports hierarchy. It's the NFL at number one, the NBA at number two, and then you have everything else. That used to be true. That used to be the case. The NBA, though, they are no longer number two. We are 2 weeks away from the playoffs, and mark my words, this will be the lowest rated playoffs in the history of the NBA. I'm looking at the landscape for the playoffs right now. There is nothing that is going to draw interest from the casual NBA fan. The Nets are the powerhouse in the Eastern Conference, but they don't have any likable stars. Kevin Durant has ruined his marketability over the years with his erratic behavior. James Harden pissed a lot of people off with how he handled leaving the Rockets. And do I even need to get into why Kyrie Irving isn't likable? Do we need to go down that road again? Then out in the Western Conference, the casual NBA fan, they could get behind Steph Curry and the Warriors, but they're not really a threat. The Nuggets, they could have been a good story, but how far can they really go without Jamal Murray? The Lakers could have been the team that the casual fan hate watched, watched them to see them lose, but with the declining health of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the Lakers at this point will be lucky to make it out of the first round. LeBron James is not helping matters either for the NBA. We'll get into that more in just a second. I keep seeing these reports that when the NBA negotiates their TV rights deals, the money could be close to what the NFL commands. I don't know what world some of these journalists are living in. The sports media, they have this false view of the NBA. Like I said, they still believe the NBA is the second most popular sports league in the country. Let's compare ratings between the NFL and the NBA. And you tell me how it makes sense that the NBA can command close to the same money that the NFL does. The final regular season ratings for the NBA on ABC were released on Friday. Average game on ABC was watched by 2.66 million people. That's down 10% from last season's record low, which was below 3 million. You know what the most watched NBA game has been all year? The damn All-Star game, an exhibition. And this year's All-Star game was the least watched in league history. The NBA has lost over half of their audience since 2011, which was the most watched season since Michael Jordan retired. And I don't want to hear the same excuses either. Ratings are down because of COVID. Every sport has taken a hit in the ratings. The NBA is really popular on social media. Just stop. Ratings for the NBA are down because no one gives a damn about the NBA and their star players right now. Sports Media Watch compiled a list of the most watched sporting events since the pandemic forced the leagues to shut down last year. They didn't include the NFL on the list for obvious reasons. The NFL would take up all 10 slots. The purpose of the list was to compare the other sports leagues and their popularity, or lack thereof. You know how many NBA games were on the top 10 list of most watched games? 0. None. I want you to think about that for a second. We're not comparing them to the NFL. This is in comparison to Major League Baseball, the NHL, soccer, golf, tennis, whatever. The NBA is so irrelevant right now that not one of their games made the list. And people expect, or journalists, I should say, expect the NBA to command NFL money when negotiating their TV rights fees? Someone please explain to me how that is going to be the case. I don't understand it. Let's compare the NBA to the NFL. We'll use NFL games on Fox for a comparison. The late Sunday afternoon slot on Fox is the national TV game. There were 17 games broadcast last season. The NFL averaged damn near 24 million viewers. That is 22 million more than the NBA is drawing. If you combined the audience for all 15 NBA games on ABC this season, it would total 40.3 million people. 2 NFL games on Fox reach more than all 15 NBA games combined. If you combine the audience for NFL games on Fox, you get over 400 million people. Again, someone please explain to me how the NBA can go to ABC and these other networks and command NFL money. The television networks, they have all the leverage. If the NBA wanted to play hardball, threaten to take their broadcast rights to another network, go ahead. No one's watching anyway, so you're really taking nothing away from them. You know the NBA is in trouble when more people are watching professional wrestling than basketball. And the league's biggest star, LeBron James, is not helping. You're not going to hear this anywhere else, but the NBA is hemorrhaging money right now. I don't know that for a fact. That's just my opinion, but I'll explain how I came to that conclusion. First, arenas have been mostly empty all season, which cost the league hundreds of millions of dollars. They rushed the start of the regular season to December to placate the broadcast networks. Christmas Day is the biggest day of the regular season every year, and the networks wanted those ratings. So Adam Silver rushed the start of the regular season when they probably should have pushed it back to January because the league is more reliant on the money from broadcast fees than they've ever been. Adam Silver received a lot of resistance for going through with the All-Star game this year. I was one of those who thought that it should have been canceled, but looking back at it now, I understand why Adam Silver went through with it. I understand why he made that decision. He knew it would draw some interest, and the league needs all the interest it can generate right now. Then you have the play-in tournament. There are already too many teams that qualify for the NBA playoffs. I mean, half the damn league makes the postseason. This year, 20 teams will qualify instead of 16. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing a play-in tournament? Adam Silver's doing everything that he can to recoup the money that the teams have been losing for over a year now. If you watch me on a regular basis, you know that I am no defender of Adam Silver. But I understand why he's doing what he's doing. He's trying to recoup lost money. The problem is, he is getting no assistance from his biggest star. LeBron James has fought him every step of the way. LeBron was against starting the season in December. He was vocal about not wanting to play in the All-Star game. He's been vocal recently about the play-in tournament, calling for whoever came up with the idea to be fired. Think about it. The biggest basketball star in the world is complaining about having to play more basketball. Not a good look for the NBA. The league finds itself right now in a perfect storm heading into the playoffs. Your biggest star is not healthy. And even if LeBron was healthy, you can't rely on him to draw an audience anymore because he has ruined all of his drawing power by being so political. There are no sexy matchups that are going to draw in the casual viewer this year for the playoffs. There's no storylines. Zion Williamson, he would have been a great story for the playoffs, but he's going to be watching from home. Steph Curry and the Warriors, like I said earlier, they're a great story, but they're not legitimate contenders. If the Brooklyn Nets commit just 50% on the defensive end, they should walk through the NBA Finals with ease. Be honest. Does anyone care to watch that? I watched the WWF when I was a kid growing up, and there's a term used in professional wrestling called heat. It's mostly used when referring to a bad guy. He does things to draw heat from the crowd or get the crowd to boo him, not like him. He wants the crowd to hate him. There are two kinds of heat in professional wrestling. There's good heat, like what I just described, and then there's go-away heat. Let me give you an example. The Bad Boy Pistons of the late 80s, early 90s, Isaiah Thomas and all them, they had good heat. People loved to hate them. They tuned in hoping that they would lose. The Miami Heat, 10 years ago, they had good heat. People were pissed off at LeBron James for the whole decision thing. People packed NBA arenas to boo him. They watched the Heat on television hoping that they would lose. It resulted in the highest rated NBA season since the Jordan era. In 2021, LeBron James, and damn near the entire NBA, they have go-away heat. People are disgusted. They're not watching. A lot of people are pissed off that the NBA went woke. They pissed a lot of people off kneeling for the national anthem. The relentless promotion of social justice, racial politics. Hell, the list of things that the NBA has done wrong in the last 12 to 18 months is a mile long. The result is going to be the least watched playoffs in the history of the league. And that's coming off the record that they set last year for the least watched playoffs. I believe we're going to see first and second round ratings in the 3 to 4 million range, which is god awful. The NBA Finals, I think they'll be lucky to draw 6 million people. Can the NBA bounce back? Sure, they can bounce back. Even though they're in dire straits right now, they can certainly come back from this. It's not going to happen overnight. They really need Zion Williamson to get into the playoffs next year. He's the only young star they have that can take over the role that LeBron James has. When Michael Jordan was nearing retirement, it was known that the NBA was going to take a hit in the ratings. That's not going to be the case when LeBron James retires. At this point, I think LeBron James retiring could actually be a good thing for the NBA. It might draw the casual fan back in, the fan that LeBron has turned off with his constant promotion of woke politics. Now, as far as this year's concerned, though, the ratings for the NBA, they're going to continue to decline, and there's nothing they can do about it. Now, let's hear what you guys think. Will you be watching the NBA playoffs this year? Could we see record low ratings for the playoffs? Also, if you think the NBA can command close to NFL money when they negotiate their TV rights deals, please, for the love of God, explain to me how you came to that conclusion. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys on Tuesday.